I'm your Dungeon Master, Scott Forsyth, and welcome to Forsyth Fantasy Hour Recaps. FFH Recaps tell the summarized story of the different campaigns told throughout Forsyth Fantasy Hour. This first recap focuses on episodes 0, 9, 10, and 11 of Hilltopper and Pilgrim Season 1. And these episodes told the backstory of the two primary characters in this D&D campaign, as well as setting up future events for Season 1. Our story starts in the land of No-Wishing, a wondrous land filled with all sorts of beings and creatures. Magic runs through the world, available for people to study and learn. Adventurers journey to explore deep dungeons or go on daring quests. This, most certainly, is a world of high fantasy. Emmi Hilltopper spent her childhood in the town of Tranquility Bay with her halfling father Edward and her best friend, a dragonborn named Elliot. Emmi and Elliot would explore their town, scale the cliff sides, and pretend to be adventurers in their spare time. Now, when Emmi was with Edward, she would practice divine magic and spells, becoming a cleric like her father, but chose this path to grow closer to him and have the ability to heal others. When Emmi was 14, a dam broke in Tranquility Bay, flooding the town. Emmi was able to evacuate everyone, but Elliot. He was the only casualty. Heartbroken from the loss of her friend and sick of the mixed opinions from the townsfolk, Emmi left home, leaving her father a single goodbye letter as she started a new journey and made her way throughout the South Coast province. The city of Bonsberg, a major town of No-Wishing, was her first destination in her travels. While on the road, Emmi finds an injured old woman. She tends to the old woman's wounds, and Emmi takes the victim to her cottage up the road. The woman explains that she was mugged, and asked Emmi to stay with her for dinner. Emmi agrees and spends the evening with the old woman, resting and talking about her travels. But after dinner, Emmi blacks out and awakes alone in a room. She panics and looks for a way out, finding a window above her. Emmi climbs through the window and onto the roof amidst a sudden storm. Luckily, she escapes from the home and wanders through the rain, getting lost in the woods nearby. Emmi then stumbles upon a large, bearded half-orc, who asks about the old woman. Emmi assures the half-orc that she didn't know the woman and she was just trying to escape. The half-orc calls the woman by a name, Josephine, and he asks Emmi to wait as he goes inside the cottage. He enters and returns to Emmi, giving her back her traveling gear, which Josephine stole. When Emmi's supplies are back in her hands, she runs off, away from the half-orc and the cottage, and heads to Bonsberg. 20 years pass, and Emmi has partnered up with a human tinkerer named Ander Alexander Stormborn. Together, they perform odd jobs for all folks in No-Wishing, becoming treasure hunters, bodyguards, and adventurers. One day in the town of Happenstance, they were hired to protect a wagon for a dwarven family, the Stonecutters, specifically Maddox Stonecutter, his two brothers, and their associate Quentin, who was a retired Griffin Knight. They were supposed to transport this wagon to the small village of Sundew. Along the way, Emmi and Ander came under fire from a goblin band who had captured both Maddox and Quentin. Luckily, Emmi and Ander were able to find Quentin, and he revealed that a mysterious group called the Insect Glaive were after the Stonecutters, for the Stonecutters knew the location of an ancient magical weapon. This ancient weapon, a Wellforge, was one in a series of kilns scattered throughout No-Wishing and left dormant for decades. These forges can do many wondrous things that no mortal could. This specific forge has the ability to fuse magical items with non-magical items to create an entirely new device. The party went through a gauntlet of trials while searching for Maddox. One of these trials was the liberation of Sundew, who was under the reign of a local gang hired by the Insect Glaive. Now, they weren't alone. Along the way, they found new allies to help with their quest. These allies included a goblin child named Droopy, a majestic winter wolf named Roderick, and a con artist goblin named Yimbrick the Brain. Together, this group was able to find and free Maddox Stonecutter. Now, with Maddox safe, the party became divided. Maddox wanted to seek out his missing brothers and protect the Wellforge, while Quentin suggested that they return to Sundew, leaving the forge alone. After much debate, the party decided to go to the forge, in hopes to stop the Insect Glaive and to save the Stonecutters. But before leaving Sundew, Quentin urged Ander to destroy the forge if he had the chance. So just north of Sundew, hidden among the mountains and caves, the party finally found the Well Forge of Design. While sneaking into the area, they found the man behind all of the attacks, a dark elf wizard named Sylvian Valgeld. He had captured the other two stonecutters, Gordy and Big Brutus, and tortured them for information about the forge. You see, Sylvian needed the brothers because there was a spell cast over the forge. A guardian spirit wouldn't let anyone of malicious intent into the forge. In hopes of saving their friends, Emmi and the others fought off the evil wizard, as he used items from other forges, one of which was a poison that cursed Roderick, causing him to shrink in size and become mute. The other was a large plant-based arachnid that attacked the group. But in the end, our heroes got the upper hand, defeating and capturing Sylvian Valgeld. With the forge now safe, the stonecutters stayed behind so that they could turn the forge into a new business, as they always intended. Emmi and the others brought Sylvian into custody at the local jail in Sundew. And when they arrived in Sundew, the town rejoiced, rewarding them with riches and housing in thanks for saving their village. In the next couple weeks, Quentin was elected mayor of the town, and Emmi and Ander refurbished an old manor into an adventuring guild. The goal of this guild was to create a place where the people of Nowishing, merchants and adventurers alike, could share information and offer help to one another. The guild was a success, and it boomed in popularity, and Sundew became a place known throughout the South Coast province. So let's put a pin in Emmi's adventure and go on to another adventure. Years before the resurgence of Sundew, in the northernmost area of Nowishing, a group of urchins struggled to survive. A dwarf named Jamie Ironfist, a fire genasi named Grey Orange, a lizard folk woman named Astrid, a high elf named Ophelia, a human named Jack, a small baby half-orc named Nyx, and a half-elf named Rhett Matthews. The seven of them found each other and became a family. This group of orphans traveled out of the north, avoiding the conflict brewing between the Galli and the native tribes there. These urchins, as they called themselves, helped one another, watched each other's backs, and together made it out of the north, and made their way to the South Coast province. In South Coast, everyone started new lives and careers as merchants, students, and workers. Out of all the urchins, the one who prospered the most was Jack, who became inducted into a prestigious paladin order. Everyone was proud of this accomplishment, and Jack quickly became a well-known and respected member of this order. Unfortunately, tragedy struck. In the keep that Jack was stationed at, an unexpected assault took place, killing everyone there. The few of the surviving paladins notified the urchins, and they all had a funeral for their fallen friends. Everyone took this hard, with Rhett and Grey taking it the worst. Grey left the group to pursue personal ventures and stayed out of contact with the other urchins. Rhett stuck around, but went into a life of crime and light thievery, working with different gangs and groups to make extra coin for himself, Astrid, and Nyx, who was a teenager by this point. So during these days of burgling, Rhett was offered a job from the Underdark. The task was to deliver a package to one side of the city to the other. However, Rhett did not expect the package to be a living human child. Rhett took the child to the rendezvous point where he met his employer, a dark elf wizard named Sylvian Valgeld, a full year before Emmi would have met him. Sylvian wanted to exchange the child for coin, but Rhett refused. Protecting the kid, he fought with Sylvian, getting very hurt in the process, but this allowed enough time for the little child to escape. And after escaping Sylvian himself, Rhett made it back to his home. There, he looked at the gifts that Jack had left him after his death. A cloak and a set of gauntlets from the Paladin's Order, along with a small, smoky orb. That night, Rhett had made a vow to be more like Jack. To be a hero to all, and a hero that helps others. To honor this vow, Rhett changed his name to Jack Pilgrim, as he will consistently be known as. So, time passed, and most of the urchins live in the city of Sixport. So one morning while having breakfast, Astrid, Nyx, and Jack see a letter slip under their front door. This letter is addressed to the Paladin Pilgrim, and bears the markings of the order that he was a part of. The letter requests that the paladin meets the author at a marked location in the city. And despite Astrid's warnings, Jack goes to the location, finding an abandoned and infested hotel in the middle of the city. Jack explores the building, finding fire beetles riddled in every floor. Jack beats the bugs out of the way, and he finds himself in a dark hallway with another figure. The figure wears the mask of a moth and is immense in size. The masked woman attacks Jack, and he fends her off. Eventually, the two of them get to the roof of the hotel. Jack asks her if she is the one who sent the letter, but she denies it, saying that she doesn't like dealing with people from that paladin order. She refers to herself as the Magenta Moth and asks Jack if he would like to join her and her group. Frightened, he declines her offer and makes his escape when suddenly an explosion erupts from the bottom of the hotel. Jack manages to leap off the roof and land safely upon the ground, as Nyx, who was the one who caused the explosion, helps him get away. The Magenta Moth, however, gets lost among the collapsed building in thick smoke. Seeing the destruction, the official city police of Sixport, District 6, came to investigate the scene, but didn't find Jack, Nyx, or the Magenta Moth. That evening, Jack and Nyx seek out Ophelia, asking her about the order the Paladin Pilgrim was a part of. And she lets them know that the Paladin didn't reveal a lot about the information of his order, but she promised to look into it and find out who the author of that letter was. While with Ophelia, Astrid finds Jack and Nyx, and briefly scolds them, but merely is happy to see that they're okay. She also tells Jack that, for their safety, they need to split up, and that the Paladin was a part of something way bigger than themselves. She encourages Jack to pursue the mystery the Paladin was a part of, and tells him about a place where he can find information, hopefully relating to the Paladin's order. Jack agrees and parts ways with his friends, but before he leaves Sixport, he says his goodbyes to Jamie and informs him of what's happening. When Jack was finished with Jamie, he saw the child he saved from Sylvian about a year ago now, still alive and with his family. Happy and proud, Jack heads to the town Astrid told him about. It's just north of Sixport. It's a town called Sundew.